forgotten with the old ones of your tribe, but it's the only way to learn.
I'll get you a hot drink.
Oh, I've seen some dry clothes.
He's a freaky nerd. My brother is wearing the other one.
As far as I can tell, a massive electric shock. He died instantly.
Now, for the uninitiated, here's the story. On the evening of Sunday, November 22nd, 1987 at 9:14 p.m. Central Standard Time, the sports segment of Chicago's WGN Evening News was hijacked by a mysterious and, let's face it, terrifying figure in a rubber Max Headroom mask. Now, for the benefit of our younger and or more sheltered viewers, Max Headroom was a popular cyberspace-dwelling science fiction character during the mid-80s, known for cracking wise and shilling for the ill-fated New Coke.
Well, I'm going to take that as a no comment. So, nitty-gritty time. What I'm talking about, and you're not, is that more people prefer the new, refreshing taste of Coke over Pepsi.
After the interruption stopped, the anchor, Dan Roan, had this to say.
Well, if you're wondering what's happened, so am I.
A few hours later, a broadcast of Doctor Who on WTTW-TV in Chicago was also interrupted by the hacker. And this time there was audio. Note that the song he's singing here is the theme song from an old cartoon called Clutch Cargo.
Clutch Cargo with his pals Spinner and Paddlefoot in another exciting adventure, Pirate Isle. Ooga looga, Clutch Cargo.
Ooga looga to you, Snowshoe.
The Max Headroom signal intrusion incident quickly became national news, and the FCC was immediately on the case. I know a lot of people think of the FCC as the organization whose job it is to keep dirty words off of TV, but really, their job is to protect the integrity of the airwaves in situations such as this. And they were pretty confident that they would catch the person behind the Max Headroom hacking.
But the odds, I'd say, if a guy continues to involve himself, either sporadically or continuously, it's very great that we will determine who it is.
They've done it before, and signal intrusions like the Max Headroom one were nothing new. Just a year earlier, a hacker calling himself Captain Midnight had interrupted HBO's broadcast and displayed this message in protest of HBO's new price hikes. They quickly figured out that he was actually an engineer named John McDougal, and he was promptly arrested.
In fact, there have been many other examples of TV broadcast interruptions in the past. Take, for instance, the now infamous We Watch You While You Sleep intrusion from 1975. Or even more creepy, the Wyoming Incident, where strange, masked individuals seem to interrupt a popular TV broadcast.
The Wyoming Incident is mostly known as a series of really abstract videos that began circulating online in the mid-2000s. The first video that gained any sort of notoriety appeared on August 9, 2006, and came with a story about how someone in Wyoming's Niobrara County hacked a local television station to broadcast this video. There are plenty of creepy subject list video channels you can find on YouTube who claim that it was a real event, like the Max Headroom Incident, but rest assured, the Wyoming Incident is just online storytelling. The Wyoming Incident then revealed itself to be even older when the videos led back to a forum called the Happy Cube, containing threads and posts dating back to August 29, 2004. It's debatable whether or not you can include the origins of the Happy Cube as the start of the Wyoming Incident, because evidence does suggest that it was trying to be its own ARG project to begin with. But the fact remains that this project at least goes back to March of 2006, making it over 10 years old. What you need to know about the Wyoming Incident if you haven't seen my full video is that this thing is an aggressive zombie. Just when you think it's finally dead, whether through lack of participation, game jacking, or its own hand, it comes right back. And believe me when I tell you, I haven't seen it make a comeback as hard as it just did. On December 9th, 2016, the original account that opened the board, Jack Q. Pembry, posted a new thread titled, "Debts Due." He wrote only one message, "And they will be paid." Hovering over the text revealed it was a link to his SoundCloud account, with just one upload by a user whose name was a series of numbers. The title of the track is a clue to what we're hearing and how we've been given the power to hear it. Fun bug, mic active, headphone inactive. The audio track is a recording of someone having a conversation, completely unaware they're being recorded. Their device has been bugged. We start in the middle of the conversation, which, again, we can only hear one side of. I won't be playing the whole thing, just the portions we need. A link to the original audio file will be available in the video description for you. During the opening sentence, remember what I just said about how old the Wyoming incident appears to be.
The better part of a decade, and that is too fucking long. Yeah, I'm getting a little frustrated. See, I'm fucking sure there's something in this. I don't know why I downloaded it. There's an attachment that I didn't download. See, that one, I don't even recognize that file type. I've scanned both of them, and apparently there's not any malware in it, but I don't really understand any of this stuff. I gotta be honest with you. No. Not just out of the fucking blue. Shit like this, it's always phrases. Like, he's not making any attempt to disguise who he is at this point. I got a lot of emails from this guy, and it was always a different email account, or it was almost always a different email account. And they were all phrases just like this. So, fucking stupid me, why do I open it?
But the difference here, and a big reason why the Max Headroom incident continues to capture people's imaginations, is that 30 plus years later, he still hasn't been caught. But there are a few suspects. The first theory about a Max Headroom suspect claims that it was a musician named Eric Fournier behind the hack. The primary piece of evidence that people use to tie these two together are the aesthetic similarities between the Max Headroom video and a video series created by Eric. The series stars a character called Shay St. John, and he had a few standalone movies for it, as well as some videos that were kind of popular in the early days of YouTube. Unfortunately, his original channel was deleted by YouTube, a big surprise there. But the videos that do remain do reveal a kind of similarity.
Susan, yes, forget it. She does Ron John tell me the drip drop diet that I'm doing down in Hollywood. 2 drops for 2 pounds. Yeah, I'm doing the drip drop diet. 2 drops, 2 pounds.
According to Vice Motherboard, the Eric Fournier theory is as follows. The legend is that Eric, who lived in nearby Bloomington, Indiana at the time and played in a punk band called the Blood Farmers, simply wanted exposure for his band's music videos. At the last minute, he decided to ditch the idea of broadcasting one of their videos out of fear that they would be identified, and reverted instead to his own spontaneous performance. The idea that Eric reverted to a spontaneous performance, to me, contradicts what we see in the actual video. The Max Headroom video could obviously not have been performed live, as there's a very clear cut when they jump to the spanking scene. Or as this newscaster referred to the scene,
a portion of his or her anatomy.
A portion of his anatomy. I'm so glad TV is dying. Another piece of evidence contradicting this theory is that one of Eric's former bandmates said that none of them ever went to Chicago. They didn't have the technical knowledge required to pull this off, and even if they did, they didn't have any music videos to play at all. And unfortunately, Eric himself isn't able to deny this theory, as he passed away in 2010, leaving behind the mystery and his creepy artwork. But the same year Eric passed away, another set of suspects emerged. In a Reddit post made in 2010, a user named B. Pogue claimed that he might know who did it. In this post, B. Pogue told the story of 2 brothers who he nicknamed J and K so as not to potentially reveal their identities to the FCC or anyone who might still want to prosecute them for this crime. J and K were 2 brothers who were deeply involved in Chicago's local hacking and freaking scene in the 80s and 90s. Having an interest in this but being significantly younger, B. Pogue was a bit of a hanger-on in the scene. Although he mostly communicated with these people through dial-up bulletin board services, there were a few occasions where they would meet up in real life. And it was one of these real-life meetups that might have potentially exposed the person behind the Max Headroom hackings. One of these get-togethers was in an apartment in a town called La Grange, a suburb of Chicago, in the winter of 1987. Kay lived in a shared apartment with his girlfriend along with a roommate, also a fellow hacker, who we'll refer to as M. Practically every square inch, with the exception of one corner, was packed with systems working and some apparently non-working. Anyway, the apartment was located in a rather rundown-looking apartment high-rise, maybe 4 to 5 stories tall, located within walking distance of a Pizza Hut. We all walked over there and did lunch and dinner there that day. Before he gets into the details of what was said that day, he explains why he believes that Jay was the man behind the mask. The first point he says is that Jay had the same sense of humor as the guy in the video. Jay, despite having fairly severe autism and coming off as basically crazy, was actually kind of funny. His sense of humor was sort of disturbing, sort of sexually deviant in nature. Although it's circumstantial, this is the first bit of evidence I have. The Max Headroom video features a guy who at one point holds up what appears to be a vibrator or a dildo, or as the reporter would say,
the display of a marital aid.
The end of the video shows a woman dressed up like Annie Oakley swatting someone's bare ass with a fly swatter. This is the sort of humor that Jay loved. All of his jokes constantly involved something childish and or sexually deviant. The video, for all intents and purposes, is a perfect reflection of Jay's sense of humor, scattered, nervous, and comically sexually deviant.